The views of the guest are that of the guests and do not represent nor reflect the views and opinions of the Lockoutmen channel, the Recruiter Call channel, nor its host. This site content is for entertainment, educational, and informational purposes only.
We used to hire SAP program drivers, but insurance has changed on us, and they told us we could no longer accept SAP drivers. Yeah, we used to. Less than 4 months ago, we were hiring plenty. I think in my tenure here, I've only been here for 2 years, but I've hired over 40 drivers with that was within the SAP programs. We did their follow-up tests with them, everything. But insurance, as we had to renew our time with them, they decided to change that. Hello.
Hey, Chris.
This is.
Okay. How you doing today, man?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I came across one of you guys' TikToks talking about the new updated driver pay and all that other good stuff. You mind if I take a few minutes to learn a little bit more about the company?
Hey guys, it's Jason here with J.H.C. Trucking. I just wanted to talk to you about some of the exciting changes we have coming to you and what we've implemented for drivers. One of the major things is all our drivers are making 60 cents a mile with an additional 3 cents every pay period. We've also switched those miles to pay hub miles. So every mile that you run that's on the hub, you're getting paid for. And along with that, your time is very valuable. So we're paying for on-duty time. So if you're doing a pre-trip, you're sitting on the side of the road, you're fueling your truck, we are paying that on-duty time that adds up every week. Another thing that's exciting is you don't have to wait for a year to get vacation. We're paying vacation at 90 days, which everybody is earning from day one. And at the end of that 90 days, you're gonna get that full week of vacation. Some of those big changes are things that mean a lot. Not only are we gonna get you the consistent miles, we're working on getting you home every 6 to 10 days so you can reset. So out and backs, things like that, and how we're paying you hub miles. So whatever it is, your checks are consistent every week.
Absolutely. How can I help you?
Hey, I appreciate it. Well, I want to start off by finding out where you guys are actually located.
We're in Utah, Salt Lake City area.
Okay, Salt Lake City, Utah. Do you guys hire out of Ohio area? What's your hiring areas?
We do, because we have a lot of work that goes out to Minster, Ohio.
Oh, okay, awesome. All right, so in the video, you guys touched on the new pay. So I know one of the key factors was about hub miles. Can you explain the difference between the hub miles and the regular miles, like zip code to zip code and stuff like that? Explain how you guys do it and how we get paid by it.
Absolutely. And so all hub miles really means is, so before we used to do zip code to zip code, which means regardless of what your odometer says, we just pay you on GPS miles from that zip code to that zip code. And so no matter what you did, it didn't really matter. But with the hub miles, it means whatever is on your odometer, that is what you're getting paid. So our pay period is from Sunday morning at right after 12:01, technically 12:01 a.m. So from midnight of Sunday all the way to just before midnight on Saturday.
Okay.
And whatever from your odometer from that end to the next end, that is what you get paid. So now you're getting paid for whatever you drive. So
awesome.
Even if you have to you have to go get some repairs, you have to go a little bit off the path to go to your next stop, that's what you get paid, because that's how it should work out, You
exactly.
should be paid for what you're actually driving, not just what your job entails. There's a lot of other things that, your job does entail that, unfortunately, zip code to zip code is not paying you.
Right.
You have to go fuel, you have to go take care of other things like small repairs and run it over to a shop, like things like that. And
okay.
So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about hub miles. You're going to get paid what you're driving, regardless of, what other things you have to do on the trip there.
The hub miles automatically, or do we as the driver keeps track of that?
A little bit of both. So payroll, they'll be just keeping an eye out as you send in your documentation, but also through your e-log system. We use Samsara over here at James H. Clark. And so as long as you're doing your pre-trips, post-trips, make sure you're documenting your mileage as it shows on your odometer. Everything works out, and we'll make sure you get paid for that.
Okay. Now, I had an issue with one of my companies that I've worked for in the past. A lot of us drivers have a tendency of driving a specific route that we would choose to drive ourselves? Do you guys set the routes that we choose, being now that y'all use hub miles?
No, but we expect you to be, as efficient as possible. Fuel does cost. But that's actually something that's changed with us as well in the last week or so. We used to have, I'm pretty sure this other company might have had the same thing, where it was like fuel solutions where, you go fill up 50 gallons here and then another 10 at the next one and then, fill up at the following one. We no longer do that. We just work with Loves and Speedco. And so you'll fill up at the closest Loves, whatever works for you in your routing.
Okay.
But no, we don't have forced navigation. You
Gotcha.
Find your own way.
Gotcha. The base pay, the guy in the video says it's now 60 cents per mile. It's with a 3-cent bonus during pay periods. Is that like separate? Let me rephrase the question. So you said 60 cents a mile. Does that includes like bonuses, good inspections and stuff like that? Or is there a base pay rate and then everything else is just added into it?
Yeah, so let me run this through you real quick. So your actual base rate pay is 45 cents per mile. But the reason we say your base rate, quote unquote base rate, is 60 cents per mile is because we also add on 15 cents of that being per diem, meaning non-taxable. And so that'll put you up to 60 cents per mile. Okay. Now, that bonus, that extra 3 cents, so that puts you at 60 cents. Now, that bonus 3 cents per pay period is if you hit that 2,700 threshold in mileage, which is super easy, especially if you're coming from Ohio. Most of these loads are coming back to Utah. So you're just pretty much going to be running back and forth for the most part. You might hit a Texas, you might hit a Tennessee, even somewhere in the Midwest. But for the most part, that mileage is super easy for you to hit every single time. It's more of an expectation than it is, a goal to kind of reach. Everyone should be able to hit it if they really choose to. But that 63 cents is separate from, potential bonuses that you can earn from being a good driver, from, getting good inspections, things like that. I know that there is, if you do happen to get pulled over by DOT for an inspection and you have a clean inspection, that is $100 bonus for every clean inspection you come through.
Okay. You said the base is 45 cents and the per diem is the extra 15. But what if I decide that I don't want per diem? Then would the base pay increase or you guys have mandatory per diem?
It's mandatory. It's helpful for both the company and yourself to have that non-taxable income.
Okay. Awesome. The new on-duty pay. How is the on-duty pay calculated? And are there any specific activities for us to qualify for it?
As long as you're clocked in, you're getting paid. It's $10 an hour on top of, your mileage pay. So whatever you're clocked in, whenever you're logged into your e-log, you're going. You're getting paid for that. And then aside from that, we also do have our layover pay. We have our detention pay, things like that, to cover things that aren't covered by that.
Okay.
By those pay packages.
Awesome. What if there's like any discrepancies? How are we able to resolve that? Like, let's say I was stuck somewhere and maybe you guys feel that the $10 an hour didn't work. How will we go to make sure that we're on the same page with that?
That's where you'll speak with your dispatch. Our dispatch is really good with communicating those things to you. And then Jason, the one that actually was presented in that video, talking about it. He's the VP of operations. He's really good with communicating with drivers what it qualifies you for. So like you mentioned in your example, if you're stuck somewhere, he'll clarify if that's going to be detention pay, if that's layover pay. He'll make sure that you're taken care of. We're not trying to not pay you guys. That is not what we're aiming for. Our big focus here is making sure that we're all helping each other earn something,
Awesome.
You guys are a big part of that. And so we want to make sure we take care of you guys. And so we have many examples here of, drivers having that same situation. They're like, hey, I wasn't able to get my mileage because, X, Y, and Z. I was stuck here. I had a repair to take care of here. And we made sure that we let them know, what the steps are, what was, what it was perceived as, and they work together to eventually get that person paid.
Awesome. You mentioned the way the pay period begins and ends. When do we get the payout? When do we get our settlements? And of course, I'm assuming it's direct deposited, right?
Yes, it's direct deposit. It usually takes 2 weeks. So your first 2 paychecks, we give you a decision of whether you would like that sent to your home through check in a mail and through the mail, or if you would like to pick that up just in the office.
Okay.
First 2 weeks. But then other than that, it'll be direct deposit after those first 2 weeks.
Vacation. If I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn he said something that vacation starts like after 90 days, right?
Correct. And then you have a full week. You have a full week paid out to you at that point.
Okay. What if I don't want the vacation days? Can I cash out on the vacation time?
Yes, that is a possibility. Correct. Going back to the vacation pay, you wouldn't be able to cash in immediately. It would have to be a year, because it recruits over a year. And so after the year, and then it goes up to 2 weeks, things like that. But you wouldn't be able to cash out immediately. You'll have to wait until that accrual comes back around once that whole 365 days from then, and then it'll reset. So you'll be able to either cash out or use your vacation time at the end of the year.
All right. Now, you guys mentioned something about 6 to 10 days out and we would get our home time.
Yes, and that's dependent on where you're located.
Okay, so take me, for example. I'm out of Ohio. So would I be able to get home and take my home time on the weekend? Or do you guys require me to stay out a little bit longer to occur?
It'll be a little bit longer. Like I mentioned, that 6 to 10 days. We never promise weekly because we just know how freight works. Sometimes it'll change from week to week. So 1 week you might be able to get in 6 days and then you'll have your reset. But then other times, that same load doesn't show up. And so it'll push you out, an extra 3-4 days.
Okay. On the question of home time, now I come across a lot of TikToks where drivers get upset. I don't want to fall in that category. If I was to have an emergency or something of importance that requires me to get home on the days that I require or on the time that I need to be home, would there be any problems with that?
As obviously emergencies are emergencies, so there's not much planning in that. But if it is something that you can plan further ahead, things like that, if it's events that you're just like, I have this thing coming up in a few weeks or, a week or so, the more notice, the better.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much, we like I said, our main focus is our drivers. We try to make sure that you guys are taken care of. And so we try to accommodate everything, but at the same time, it all comes down to the freight. The freight always dictates our schedules. And so we'll always try to find solutions to issues, problems, emergencies as they come. But we always try to make sure that you guys are taken care of first and foremost. So we'll always come to a solution that'll best benefit you, but always know that these things do affect the freight and how we're able to operate from there.
Sounds good.
Does that
so
make
far.
any sense?
Yeah, that makes plenty of sense. All right. And since we're on the subject of miles, what are the average number of miles that you guys expect from us?
Expectation-wise, we would hope that you're always over 2,100.
Okay.
Yeah, which is not a high mark at all. Because we do have drivers that, only drive to one state. We have drivers that go from California to Utah, and that's not a very far drive at all. But that's just what they like to do, and that's what they do often. And obviously, most of them don't hit the mileage bonus because that's just not possible on that route unless they're doing extra stuff, which some of them do. But then we have our drivers that, go absolutely nuts for us, man. They go, we have a couple, they're in 2 separate trucks, but they ride alongside each other for the most part, along the same route levels, and they'll hit close. I think last week they hit around 3,900 for the week, and then their best that I've ever seen was closer to 4,600 in a week.
Okay, that's great. On the subject of your drivers, and I know I probably might be the low man on the totem pole coming in, do you guys prioritize freight with drivers of more seniority? I know the last few companies that I have drove for, they say they don't, but I noticed that they actually did. So I'm just asking beforehand, do you guys prioritize, or do you guys pay attention to the drivers that drive? And let's say, we see this driver right here is getting it for us. Maybe we should start funneling the good loads to him, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. And so that's exactly how we work. Yes, seniority does play a part, but only if they're great drivers. Our main focus is our drivers that we know are gonna drive hard for us. We know that are gonna do their part in the company. We're gonna give them all the great treatment, all the great loads that they're looking for. Right. They get first dibs because we know we can trust them to get these important loads to the spot on time, efficiently, and without much assistance. We're not trying to be in your ear 24/7. At first, we're always going to be that way, just because we want to make sure that you understand and that we have that communication line running so that you feel that you could run to us whenever you need to in terms of help and assistance on the road. But once we feel like you're ready and you're able to do these things on your own, we'll reach out to you. We'll, like, hey, this is your load, this is what's going down, and then we kind of let you go from there. And that's what we kind of want. We don't want to babysit you. You don't want us to babysit you either. And so we always give those drivers the benefit of the doubt. We give them all the best loads because we could trust them. And so if that's the kind of driver you are, I promise that you'll make plenty of miles and money here.
Awesome. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. I'm also looking for a benefit package, especially for the health insurance, man. What other benefit packages that you guys offer?
So our insurance is available to our drivers during orientation. So during orientation, we're enrolling you to your new insurance and things like that. We work through Blue Cross Blue Shield. So Awesome. It's really nationwide coverage. It's great coverage. I know most of our drivers that enroll in it, they're only taking out $120 per paycheck for full coverage. And so that's health for the driver, their spouse, and their family for both health, vision, dental. And then we also, on top of that benefit package, we also have company provided life insurance. I believe it's $25,000 if anything happens to you on the road. And then on top of that, we also have voluntary plans of life insurance that you can sign up for yourself. Also long-term disability, because we take care of short-term disability.
Awesome. What about 401k?
We do have 401k up, and we do have company matching within the 401k. Our max match over here. So if you provide 6% to your 401k, we will match that up to 4%.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I only have a few more questions to hold you up. I know I've been on here with you for a little bit, and I do appreciate you taking the time with me, man. What about the equipment? What's the equipment that you guys offer, and what are the amenities inside of them?
Absolutely. So right now we are rocking Volvos. We're rocking the 760s. They come with fridge,
table,
optimized idle,
table in the middle.
No table.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I know. I have a lot of drivers that ask for tables. I'm like, unfortunately, these don't come with it.
Okay.
And not even the newer trucks that we plan on bringing in. But it's double bunks, plenty of cabinet space. Other than that, bunk heaters, things like that. They're really nice, really clean trucks. We make sure if you get a used truck, we make sure to detail them, make sure they're well taken care of. I always say whenever you come in for orientation, you inspect the truck when you're going out for your driver test. If it isn't up to your compliance, whatever you believe a truck that you're getting should be like, you let them know. You speak with, safety. You speak with management, like, hey, it's clean, but it's not clean enough. This shouldn't, there's still a scent of smoke. There's, dog hair still lying around,
right.
Which there never really is. But I always say, this is your home away from home. It should be taken care of.
Speaking of dog hair, what about pet and rider policy?
We have both policies.
All right.
The rider policy, your passenger policy is $35 per month for one passenger. But if you have a different passenger within that same month, they're covered under that same $35 for that month.
Okay.
All we ask is that you fill out another form for that separate person, just so that they're covered by insurance.
Driver cameras.
Inward and outward facing cameras.
Is it the Litex or the Niodine?
I have no clue. I've never been asked that before.
Yeah, the Niodine cameras I'm very familiar with. I'm familiar with the Litex, but the Niodine is the AI cameras. I myself and a lot of other drivers is not a fan of, but I tend to understand why.
Right. It's just to cover both yours and our ass when you're on the road. It's more so like, instead of he said, she said, we're like, oh, I saw the driver on his phone. It's like, well, no, the cameras show he wasn't on his phone. Like, you can't use that excuse. It's just covering everybody's asses. That's all it is at the end of the day. But I will tell you this, with dispatch and management, nobody looks at the damn cameras. We do not give a damn. We're not trying to ruin your privacy, and we don't intend to look at the film or anything at all. The only time we'll ever look at it is if you are in an accident or if you request us to look at. something. Other than that, we are not looking through those camera lenses. We are not looking through our computers at past footage, anything like that. Only if you request us or you're in an accident.
How often are the trucks serviced? How often do you guys want us to bring it in and get the PMs?
That has changed over time. So we actually just moved about 2 weeks ago now, and we moved to a different facility, and we used to have a hub shop. So we used to make sure our drivers come in every single time they come through Utah to run through the shop. But now things have changed where we don't have a shop, and so we are partnered with, like I mentioned, Loves and Speedco. So whenever you need any work done, we have you run through those places. Safety, his name is Casey, is our safety director. He communicates with our drivers all the time. He's always looking up trucks, whether they need services or not. I believe he turned his service timetable to closer to every 20,000 miles to get looked up at. But that obviously isn't opposed to getting your truck checked out if needs be. You have a light pop up, you have anything pop up. Always communicate with safety. He always makes sure he takes care of the drivers and gets it done as promptly as possible.
Awesome. Well, listen, man, thank you very much. You so far that I have talked to has been open and honest. You mind if I share this information with all my drivers in my network?
Absolutely.
Awesome. I will definitely pass this information on and share the TikTok video as well, man. And thank you for your time, man. I really do appreciate it. And where do I go to fill out the application?
Yeah, so you'll just head over to our website, jameshclark.com, and then it'll have a nice gold button at the top right of the page that just says apply now. It'll send you over to the Universal app or Driver Reach, and you'll get right into the system and start your application.
All right. And I know I didn't ask this question, but a lot of drivers are actively in the FMCSA's clearinghouse. What's your position on drivers that are in the SAP program?
We used to hire SAP program drivers, but insurance has changed on us, and they told us we could no longer accept SAP drivers.
Wow.
Yeah, we used to. Less than 4 months ago, we were hiring plenty. I think in my tenure here, I've only been here for 2 years, but I've hired over 40 drivers. That was within the SAP programs. We did their follow-up tests with them, everything. But insurance, as we had to renew our time with them, they decided to change that.
Wow. So it was insurance that kind of influenced y'all to change all that. It wasn't nothing that the drivers that you brought on has did or done.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, absolutely not. All of our SAP drivers that we've ever had, they're some of our best drivers. And we know that's a big part of it. These drivers, that are in the program, they had one mistake, and I think of the majority of them, if not all of them, it was marijuana. And our past owner, he was big on, it shouldn't be illegal to these guys. These tests shouldn't, pull it from like a month ago. It should, pull it from, over the weekend, where it could still have some influence in their driving, but we think it was bogus, that whole entire thing. So we were kind of disappointed when insurance changed their policy on that and took that away from us.
So you guys still just do the urine as far as DOT drug testing go? Y'all don't do hair follicles?
No hair follicles.
Okay.
Just urine.